What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I know, I said no more Biden videos. I know I'm getting sick and tired of this, but we had a court case come through the pipeline. Once again, another loss for the Biden administration, another federal government overreach, if you will. We all remember Title IX and the absolute destruction that Title IX brought. I know I'm being a little bit hyperbolic when I say destruction, but they kind of did. They kind of destroyed women's protections here. Just giving women's protections to anybody that feels like a woman on a certain day. Well, there are consequences to these actions, and, to function as a society, we do need certain protections for women, certain protections for men. We have spaces for women, spaces for men. These things are not social constructs. But let's get into all this. Check this out, y'all. Check this out. Judge scraps Biden's Title IX rules, reversing expansion of protections for LGBTQ plus students. Yeah, I wouldn't call it protections. That's what they always call it, Title IX protections. It was more like Title IX restrictions, because some of those protections are absurd on their face, right? You have all these people that you can accuse somebody of something, and now if you're a man, you can't face your accuser. You just get accused of something, and it's like, oh, well, let's just believe the woman here. They don't get to face their accuser, and that violates due process. Yeah, these Title IX revisions, if you will, that Joe Biden has done to Title IX totally destroy all kinds of different things. We covered this back when it came out first. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but we covered this. We went over it extensively, and there's a lot of restrictions. I don't remember everything right off the top of my head, but it's crazy, y'all, but good luck on that, Biden. Yeah, they are just destroying this guy's legacy, if you will, right? Everything. It's crazy. Let's get into this right quick. The Biden administration's Title IX rules expanding protections for LGBTQ plus students have been struck down nationwide after a federal judge in Kentucky found they overstepped the president's authority, right? Now, this isn't the first story I've covered where a judge has found, hey, look at that. Joe Biden overstepped his presidential authority. Yeah, he's done that on several occasions for several different areas of topic, if you know what I mean, right? There's been all kinds of things, and that's something the Biden administration has been known for, is overstepping the bounds of their authority. For God's sakes, they tried to implement a vaccine mandate through OSHA. Like, huh? Come on, like, really? The government safety organization, you're going to try to push a vaccine mandate through this? That was ridiculous. That got struck down with the quickness, if you will. Let's keep going. In a decision issued Thursday, U.S. District Judge Danny C. Reeves scrapped the entire 1,500-page regulation after deciding it was fatally tainted by legal shortcomings. The rule had already been halted in 26 states after a wave of legal challenges by Republican states. Utah lawmakers voted on a resolution in June 2024 declaring that 2 state laws restricting restroom access for transgender individuals and barring transgender girls from women's high school sports supersedes the federal Title IX rule. President-elect Donald Trump previously promised to end the rules on day one and made anti-transgender themes a centerpiece of his campaign. That's a blatant lie. No, he did not. Right? Like, these people can't seem to understand concepts here. Right? They don't understand the concept of just because you're against, having men playing women's sports, they think you're anti-transgender. They call you a transphobe and all these other names, right? Like, I have no problems whatsoever with any transgender person out there, right? Like, on some level, I kind of feel for some of these people that are fighting, that are struggling with their own identity, right? I get that. I totally get that. Been there, done that. On a different topic, of course. I've never believed I was a woman, but I have struggled with exactly who I am. We all go through that, right? And that's something that I think just about everybody does go through at some point in your life. You take a look on the inside, and you might not like who you've become, or you might not like where you're at in life. We all struggle with this, but, sometimes I feel for these people because a lot of them believe they were born in the wrong body. Well, I'm a highly religious person. I don't think that's the case in most of these. I think some people, they just get a little bit confused maybe about their feelings, blah, 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 blah. You get it. I'm not a psychologist or a doctor, so don't take any advice from me, but you got to feel for some of these people. And as adults, if you truly feel this, right? Like, I think you should go through some therapy, look and see what's really going on here. But if you come to the conclusion after talking with people, looking at all your options, asking your doctor type of thing, maybe get a second opinion, if you will, talk to a psychiatrist, blah, blah, blah. After all that, you still want to go through with this, I have no problems with that. You're just fine. But we do have bumper guards for society for good reasons. Humans can be evil. Humans do evil things. People see things like this, like Title IX, and they will take advantage of these. And we need to have certain restrictions in place to try to halt some people, right? Bumper guards to try to stop some of these actions from being taken place and seeing people get hurt. When, we could have prevented that if we would have just done this instead of that, right? Now, this opens the door for a lot of things, right? You're pretty much destroying, private spaces for biological sex, in other words, right? Like bathrooms. A lot of people don't want to go to a bathroom with a different gender in the bathroom, right? Like, now, one of the resolutions or solution to this, right, would be to just single person bathrooms. And I know a lot of places are implementing this all over the damn place, right? But we still come back to there are certain things that women do that are for women. And just because you claim to be a woman doesn't mean that you are, especially when it comes to sports, because men are just built differently. So we do need to have certain protections, and Title IX outright got rid of those. I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, high school sports, it don't really matter. Yeah, it kind of does. Men are already a lot stronger than women in high school. Once you hit that certain puberty, you hit puberty or whatever. I'm having trouble saying that for some reason. But once you hit that level, your the whole body physiology just starts to change. You start to develop into a man or a woman. Men have more muscle mass, bigger bones, a higher bone density. We have certain, there's a lot of different things I could get into, but I'm not trying to hash all that out right here. But, a lot of these lefties, a lot of these people, they try to argue the fact that, or they try to argue the point, I should say, because it's not a fact, that gender is a social construct. Well, I would concede that point on certain levels, sure. But gender, social constructs is not what we're talking about here. Bathrooms are a physical item. Biology, that's where we get those distinctions from, is biology, not a social gender construct here. Has nothing to do with your gender. Right? And then you hear them, well, they're trying to restrict the rights. We want trans rights and all this other stuff. Well, hang on. Aren't you people American citizens? Aren't you humans? You already have the same rights. I mean, that's how this is championed, is, we're standing up for the rights of the transgender, the LGBTQ population. Well, hang on. Those people already have the exact same rights as everybody else. You don't get to go in the opposite sex bathroom just because you feel like you're the opposite sex. It doesn't make you the opposite sex. That's what we need to come to in this country, and I think we're moving in that direction, right? Trump is, this isn't going anywhere anyway, so Trump isn't going to have to even worry about this for the most part, but let's keep going. The decision came in response to a lawsuit filed by Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Virginia, and West Virginia. In a statement, Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti called it a victory for the protections of girls' privacy in locker rooms and showers, and for the freedom to speak biologically accurate pronouns. Sorry about that, y'all. The Education Department didn't comment, blah, blah, blah. The Biden administration ignited controversy when it finalized the new rules last year. The regulation expanded the Title IX, a 1972 law forbidding discrimination based on sex in education, to also prevent discrimination based on gender identity or sexual orientation. It also expanded the definition of harassment to include a broader range of misconduct. That's right. So that's why I was talking about you can't face your accuser. There's a whole litany of other things that were just, they fly in the face of logic. They fly in the face of due process rights. They fly in the face of normality in society, for crying out loud. Let's keep going. Civil rights advocates hailed it as a victory, saying it gave LGBTQ plus students new recourse against discrimination. No, it didn't. It absolutely didn't. Right? These people aren't discriminated because of, because they're trans. I'm sorry, that just doesn't take place. You don't get discriminated, right? You get discriminated because of who you are, your character merits, not because you claim to be this or claim to be that. Now, I'm not saying that discrimination based on sex or gender identity or blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that doesn't happen on a personal level, but on a institutional level, they're already forbidden from doing these things, right? You're never going to get rid of that on a person-to-person level, in other words, because we'll always have bigots out there, misogynists, blah, 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 blah. There's always going to be those types out there. You're never going to get rid of these just completely. Just some people just think that way, and ain't much we can do about it except try to push society in a certain direction to be a little bit more accepting of these people, right? And that's the thing. They're constantly conflating these things. They think the right is just a bunch of bigot, misogynist transphobes over here. We're not. We just want to protect women. That's all. And protect men, too, for crying out loud. Men don't get enough protections, for goodness sakes. But we're just trying to keep everything sane here. We're not trying to go off to some weird areas over here where we don't really need to go. It just doesn't make any sense because people take advantage of these things. Like I was saying earlier, we got to calm down, y'all. You guys aren't being discriminated against. The rule didn't explicitly address athletics and mostly detailed how schools and colleges were required to respond to cases of discrimination and assault. A separate proposal dealing with transgender athletes in sports was put on the back burner and later revoked after it became a focal point of Trump's campaign. Yeah, but not for the reasons that these people think. Just pay attention, y'all, and stop lying, corporate press. In his decision, Reeves found the Education Department overstepped its authority by expanding the scope of Title IX. There's nothing in the 1972 law suggesting that it should cover any more than it has since Congress created it, Reeves wrote. He called it an attempt to bypass the legislative process and completely transform Title IX. The judge also found that it violated free speech rights by requiring teachers to use pronouns aligning with students' gender identity. That's another thing. We can't force people's speech upon them. Right? That's something that this also did that I forgot about. That's a big no-no. You can't do that. Look, most people will be, amicable with other people. Right? But if you look like a dude and identify as a woman and you come up to me, I'm going to call you sir. I don't know your pronouns right off the top. Right? And what does that matter anyway? People make mistakes. Most people will apologize. The people that won't apologize, yeah, you can just call them whatever the hell you want to call them a butthead, call them a butthead. But that's where it should stop, right there. You shouldn't try to legislate people's speech, for crying out loud. You can't do that. I'm totally against that. The First Amendment does not permit the government to chill speech or compel affirmance of a belief with which the speaker disagrees in this manner, Reeves wrote. Rather than carve out certain aspects of the rule, Reeves decided it was best to toss the regulation in its entirety and revert to a previous interpretation of Title IX. He said his decision was simply cause a return to status quo. that existed for more than 50 years prior to its effective date. Among the biggest critics of the rule was Betsy DeVos, former education secretary during Trump's first term. On the social media site X, she wrote that the radical, unfair, illegal, and absurd Biden Title IX rewrite is gone. And, that's good, because it was horrible. It was outright horrible. There was a big backlash when that came out. We covered it on this channel. Go back and watch that video if you want, but honestly, it was a while back, and I wasn't nearly as good at doing this off the cuff as I am now. I'm a whole hell of a lot better than I used to be, and hopefully I'm still getting better. You guys let me know down in the comments section, but that's one thing we need to be careful on in this country, that the left seems dangerously close to getting over the line at certain points, right? Speech, as a matter of fact. Just look at what they're trying to do on social media, right? Biden was having his departments have backdoor access to ban people off social media for speech, for political opinions, for crying out loud. This is absurd. It's all craziness. But I've ran on for pretty long on this one. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. It is freaking freezing out here. I need to get a heater or something. But y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.